Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So, we are here again to finish this module today. Okay, so we have been discussing this human population and environment module since last 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, and almost all the key numericals that we have covered in the last lecture are, I think, clear with you. Okay, so if there is still any difficulty, you can tell me after the lecture. Okay, I'll try to solve it. Okay, so now let us quickly have a quick revision regarding the last week session. Okay, so basically, we first of all started with the population growth rate. Okay, so now when I speak, what is the meaning of the population growth rate? So basically, it means that how much is the population growing over a specific span. Span means period. Okay, so that period can be 1 year or that period can be more than 1 year. Okay, so it does not make a much of a difference there. Okay, so we studied the logistic growth rate, exponential growth rate, and thereafter we started off with the basic portion that was regarding the numericals. So we solved a variety of the numericals where we wanted to first of all find out the growth rate, that is R. Okay, then after we wanted to find out the future population, and we solved the numericals regarding the doubling time. Okay, that is T double. So up till now, we have covered up till that much. So today we are going to do the different population growth theories, okay, and population forecasting methods. And we'll solve one of the numericals also from one of those methods. Okay, there are plenty of methods, but we will not go into the detail regarding the numerical of each and every type because that is not there in the syllabus. Okay, so we'll cover the portion that we have discussed. Okay, so any doubts, any questions, then please do it. Okay, otherwise I'll just start. I'll quickly move on. Okay. Yes, so population growth theories. Okay, so let us quickly discuss that. So there are two important theories of population which are related to the present trends of the population growth. Okay, the first and foremost is the Malthusian theory. Malthus is a famous scientist. Okay, he was born in 1766. Okay, and he wrote the essay in the principle of population, which was first published in the year of 1798, where he has given certain theories regarding the population and the population growth rates. Okay, so let us have a look at the points that he has given. Okay, so he has first of all given the main 2 points, that is, food is necessary for the existence of the humankind or the human being. Okay, and reproduction is a natural phenomena. Okay, Malthusian theory states that the human population increased with exponential rate. Okay, by now I know that every one of you are well aware regarding what is the meaning of the exponential growth rate or the exponential rate. Okay, while the ability to grow the food increased arithmetically. Okay, so this does not go hand in hand. Okay, food is necessary for the survival of the human being. Okay, so in order for the human beings to survive, the food should grow as a same rate as the human being, or you can say the reproduction phenomena. Okay, so human population is increasing exponentially, whereas the ability to grow the food, okay, it is increasing arithmetically. So the food will become lower, food will is increasing at a lower rate as compared to the human population. So the population grows at a geometric rate, that is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Likewise, whereas the production of the food increases at an arithmetic rate, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can just imagine that after 5 or 6 numbers, whereas in case of the human population the figure would have reached 16 or 32, but in case of the food production it is reaching only 5, 6, 7, 8. Likewise, so at one point it will happen that there will be human beings, human population, but there won't be enough food to feed them. Okay, so the core principle of Malthus states that the food is necessary for the human existence. In this, Malthus suggests that food is essential for survival of the man, and that the size of population is being determined by the availability of the food in a particular area. Human population tends to grow faster than the power in the earth to produce the food. Okay, that is the main point that is being derived from the principle of the Malthusian theory. A point will come or a time will come when the population overcome the food source, resulting into the crisis limiting the population in line with the carrying capacity, and it requires two strong checks. One is the preventive check and another one is the positive check. Okay, so I think all of you are also clear with what is the meaning of the line of the carrying capacity. Okay, I have discussed it repeatedly in the last two lectures. Okay, so what is the meaning of the positive check? Okay, now here positive and the preventive check are with respect to the Malthus theory. Okay, so the positive check is disease outbreak. Okay, and the preventive check is control of the birth rate. So in the above mentioned 2 points, Malthus concludes that the tendency of the population to indefinitely increase may be controlled by two type of the checks. Okay, here what is the problem? The problem is the increase or the rate of increase of the human population. So he suggests that there are two different type of the check by which the indefinite increase. Okay, why indefinite increase? Because it is happening at an exponential rate. It is very difficult to track it. Okay, so there are two types of the checks that are there. Okay, so the preventive or the negative checks, okay, this suggests to reduce or decrease the birth rate. Okay, so one option is either you reduce or decrease the birth rate, because if birth rate is reduced or decreased, it will in turn affect the overall population. If the birth rate is reduced, then the small child, new children will not come up. Okay, so that is why the balance will be somewhat restored. Okay, so this is one of the preventive checks. Okay, so how can you do that? It can be done by postponement of the marriages, which will lower the fertility rate. Okay, or by increasing the cost of the food, because people will not be able to afford the food. People will not be able to afford the living. Okay, so they will directly or indirectly reduce the birth rate. Okay, and the positive checks are, these checks lead to an increase in the death rate. Second one is famine, that is a shortage of food, war or disease, which would increase the death rate. So if you cannot control the birth rate, the another option is, if this type of any of this type of the problems happen, it will increase the death rate. So again, with increasing death rate or with lowering of the birth rate, it will directly affect the net population, and what we want, the net population to not increase at a very high rate. Okay, overall it will anyway increase, because always the birth rate is higher than the death rate, if you just see the scenario of the recent times. Okay, so if increasing the death rate happens due to any reason, xyz reason, okay, so that will be a positive check under the theory of the Malthusian. Okay, now, as you know that always with some of the theories, there might be some or the another limitation that is attached. So the limitations that are attached with the Malthus theory is, Malthus did not consider the migration of the people. Okay, when we discussed the problem of the overpopulation, the causes of the overpopulation, the third point we discussed was migration. Migration means people moving from one area to the another area, people moving for good quality of life from the rural areas to the urban areas, people moving to a better home from a village area in order to get a good quality of the life, good facilities, modern amenities, modern machineries. Okay, so all this happens due to the phenomena called migration. So in the theory of the Malthusian, okay, nowhere the concept of the migration or the problem of the migration is taken care of. Okay, second one is, Malthus failed to recognize the potential of the human population to increase the food supply. Okay, as you know, the 21st century, people are more and more inclined towards the modern machineries. Okay, the potential, or you can say the capacity to invent the new scientific ways by which the food supply can be increased fourfold times or eightfold times have come into practice. Okay, now if you go to the agricultural field, or if you go to the sector of the agriculture, lots and lots of modern machineries, lots of modern equipments are being used. Why? It does not cost very cheap, but it increases the capacity, it increases the chances of the production by a double or triple or four times. Okay, so Malthus did not consider this particular point of the factor as well. Okay, then next is he also did not consider the man's ability to use science and technology advancement in the field of the agriculture to increase the food supply, family planning methods. Okay, so all these are the limitation that is not being considered before putting into practice his theory. And he has confused the instinctive desire for relationship with the desire to have the children. Okay, so again, this is one of the important points that is not being considered by the Malthus theory. So again, Malthus has given his assumptions. Okay, so those assumptions are correct up to a certain level. Okay, so as you all know, the problem of the food, the problem of the basic amenities still exists, but it is not a foolproof theory, since there are a number of limitations that are not taken into consideration by the Malthus. Okay, so this is a graph that you can just relate with the Malthus theory. On the y-axis there is a population, x-axis is the time. So you can see that the population initially grows geometrically and it exceeds the carrying capacity line. You can see this line over here. There is a carrying capacity line. Okay, so it is increasing the carrying capacity line. Okay, and then it is crashing. Okay, so you can see that this is the crash. Okay, this is the population crash. So population is kept in check, preventive and the positive checks. Okay, so this is a standard figure you can relate with the Malthus theory. Okay, okay, I'll keep it on the screen for a minute. If you want to just see it, you can see it. If you want to draw it, you can just quickly draw it. Okay, next is another theory that is given by the another scientist, that is Karl Marx. Okay, his theory is known as the Marxian theory. Okay, it is also known as theory of surplus population. Okay, this is the important question for your MCQ exam point of view. Okay, which theory is known as theory of surplus population? The theory is called the Marxian theory. Okay, so Karl Marx believed that the depletion of the natural resources, existence of poverty and pollution, as well as other social ills that are present in the society, are indicated by the population growth. So population growth indicates all these problems that are there in the society. Okay, so therefore the population increase is an indicator rather than a cause of this problem. According to him, there can be no universal law of population, and he is right to a certain extent. He believed that the man's tendency to pressing the means of subsistence or the means by which one maintains his or her own life is due to the evils of capitalism. Okay, I hope everyone knows what is the meaning of the word capitalism, okay, which would disappear with the emergence of communism. Okay, so here two main words are there. The meaning of capitalism, that is industries, okay, and the word called communism. Okay, so these two words should be clear with everyone. Okay. As a result, the unemployment spreads, wages decline, and the poverty increases. So all these 3 points are again connected to each other. Okay, when there is a lot of unemployment in the environment, or you can say in the population, always the wages will decline. Okay, because people will be willing to work at a lower wage also. Okay, and it will directly or indirectly give the rise to the poverty. Okay, he came to the conclusion that the main cause of the surplus population was nothing but the wrong politics that are done by the capitalists. Okay, so he blamed the wrong politics as the chief problem for the population, or you can say the surplus, or you can say the increase in the population. Marx stated that poverty and unemployment is not only due to increased population but due to capitalist system which failed to provide the job. Okay, due to this capitalist system, it has given rise to the high amount of the unemployment. Okay, people are not getting the jobs easily. Okay, so there are four factors that can be helped, that can be used to control of the population growth. The first and foremost is education, then living standard and employment. Okay, then government benefits and incentives. Certain motivations are being provided by the government and the government organizations. Okay, and the common, or you can say the general publicity. These four factors will help in the control of the population growth. Okay, so the first one is education. So, improvement of literacy rate in villages and lower and middle class of the people, particularly in women, can control the population growth. Okay, so this is a very important question. So, I request all of you to just note down all these 4 points. So, please just quickly note down this first point. Second one is living standard and employment. So employment will improve the living standard of the people. So there will be improvement in the education and the awareness of family planning, which could control the population growth. So again, this is an important point. Next is government benefits and incentives. So implementation of government policies to give special incentives to people having only two or less children and benefit to such children in education later on may play an important role in the control of the population growth. See, again over here, if the government is providing a certain incentive, if the government is providing a certain motivation to the people, then definitely it will give the good results. Okay, so this is again an important point. If the government is putting up a scheme that if there is only one or two children in a family, or less than two children in a family, or there is only a girl child in a family,
or only a single girl child of a parent, then they will get a free education. So definitely this will help a lot in controlling the population. Okay, so this is again an important point. And the fourth one is publicity. So publicity by giving advertisements and incentives, again certain type of the motivation, stating the importance, need and significance of the birth control and the family planning may also control the growth of the population to a very large extent. Okay, so again this is a very important point. Okay, so please note down. So after this we can move on to the population forecasting. Okay, so moving further, population forecasting method. Okay, so data regarding the present and the past population of any city is always available from the records of the municipal corporation. Even for Rajkot city, if you want the data of the particular present date and the past population date, so whenever the calculations have been done, that data will be available in the RMC department. Okay, so this data is important. So if you want to design a new water supply scheme or a wastewater treatment plant, the current and the future population must be forecasted. Okay, I cannot design the water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant or water supply scheme, okay, by knowing the just the population of the current and by knowing the population of the past. It is very important that I forecast the population of the future as well, because if I am building any new scheme, okay, so that scheme will be utilized for years to come. So if in future the population is going to increase, but I have designed it keeping in mind the current population, then definitely there will always be a scarcity of the resources at that particular place. So what happens is, by certain methods we can forecast the future population of the particular area, or you can say a particular city. Okay, so there are many different methods of forecasting the population. So arithmetical increase method, geometrical increase method, incremental increase method, graphical extension method, logistic curve method. Okay, so all these are important methods. Some of the other methods are zoning method, decreasing rate of growth method, and ratio and correlation method. So these are the important methods that are used, or you can say utilized, for the population forecasting. Okay, we'll discuss one or two and we'll solve the numericals regarding one of them. Okay, so that it is more clear for you. Okay, so the simplest method is arithmetical increase method. So principle of this method is that the rate of change of population. Okay, now in your mathematics class you must have already used this particular type of the equation, that rate of change of population with respect to what? With respect to time. That is why we have d by dt. D by dt of what? It is a function of what? It is a function of population. Okay, so dp by dt is a constant value. So that is already mentioned earlier. Okay, so for past 3 to 4 decades, the data for future population is calculated by the given formula. Which formula it is? PN, that is the population forecasted for the future. Okay, P is equal to the present, or you can say the current population. Decades is represented by n, that is small n, and I is the average increment of a decade. Okay, so in any particular normal area, suppose the population in 1991, okay, I think you already know that the census is taken every 10 years. Okay, if anyone does not know, just keep it into your mind that the census, that is the calculation of the population, that is generally done that is done at every 10 years. Okay, so in 1991, suppose the population was forecasted and it came out to be 5 lakh people. Okay, in 2001, if the population forecasted and it came out to be 8 lakh 50,000, then the increment in the population is 3 lakh 50,000 for that particular decade. Okay, now this 3 lakh 50,000 will be only for this particular decade. It will change when we again count it for 2011. Okay, so average increment of a decade you have to take out from the values. Okay, regarding this arithmetical increase, I have one of the numericals also, so we'll just quickly see that also after we finish this. Okay, next method is, okay, if you want to first of all write down this formula, you can do it. I'll give you a minute for that. Okay. Okay. So next is geometrical increase method. So principle of this method is that the percentage growth rate of population with time is constant. So for the past 3 or 4 decades, the data of the future population is calculated by, so you can just see over here, the formula is slightly similar. Okay, but instead of the average increment, here the growth rate R is being used. Okay, so Pn is equal to P naught into the bracket 1 plus R upon 100 raised to N. Okay, where P0 is the initial population, Pn is the population that is forecasted for n decades. Okay, so suppose I am having a current population of 2011, and if I want the population for 2031, so how will I write n? N will be equal to 2, because there are 2 decades that are been between those two values. Okay, and R is the percentage growth rate of the population. So this method is used only for those cities that are having the high population growth. Okay. Okay, next is a very important theory, that is regarding the demographic projection. Okay, so these demographic projections are generally used to represent the increase in population. The shift has been from the high birth rates and high death rates to low birth rates and low death rates. Okay, so this demographic projection is being observed in almost every country. For the developed countries, it might have happened in the past. In the developing countries, it might be happening at present. Or on the underdeveloped countries, it might happen in the future as well. Okay, so there are generally 5 phases of this demographic transition model. Okay, so we'll see them. So DT, that is the demographic transition, refers to the transition from the high birth rate and the death rate to the low birth rate and the low death rate as the country develops from a pre-industrial zone to the industrialized economic system. When the birth rate and the death rate are equal, then zero population growth rates are observed, which is also known as a demographic transition model. Okay, so basically we want a net zero value. Okay, net zero is technically not possible. Okay, but when the birth rate and death rate are lowering and they are becoming almost equal, okay, that particular point is known as a demographic transition. Okay, so this is the graph. Okay, so on the y-axis, what is being mentioned? Birth or deaths per 1,000. Okay, and in the x-axis it is mentioned as the time. So you can see that this pink line is indicating the birth rate. Okay, so both values are starting at an extreme level. So that is what is the meaning of the high birth rate and the high death rate. So you can see over here that initially both values are very high, but over a period of time this death rate is going down. Okay, why it is happening, that I will explain you with respect to all the phases. But birth rate is maintaining its constant value, but after a this phase 2, it is decreasing. Again, it is not constant, and after a certain time, in the phase 5, it is generally reaching a constant value, both of this. Okay, so it is starting from a very high value and it is ending at a very low value. Okay, so what is meaning of this? So there are generally four, or you can say mainly five stages of the demographics transition model. So phase one. So phase one you can relate with, let's say, 2 centuries back. Okay. So due to lack of awareness, poor medical facilities, low education levels, and natural disasters, all these things were present 2 centuries back, 200 years back. Okay, so high birth rate and high death rates were there. So that is what is represented in this phase one. Okay, you do not had the control over the death rate at that time, and the birth rate was already high. Okay, so that is generally representing the phase number one. In the phase two, in the developing countries, due to advancement in the technologies and the improvement in the medical facilities and the education system. Okay, just see the point over here, that with increase, or you can say with improvement in the medical facilities, technologies, people have become more smart, the death rates dropped rapidly, corresponding to the birth rate. So this caused the high increase in the population in these countries. Okay, still there was no control over the birth rate, but due to the medical science, due to higher facilities, the death rate was reduced. So that is why it is reducing in the phase 2, but the birth rate is not reducing as much. Okay, third phase. Okay, in this, due to urbanization and industrialization, so now came the industrial revolution. Okay, reduction in the natural resources, women's education, and the family planning scheme. So this is the point where it generally marks as a main phase out of all these five phases. Okay, it gave rise to the high reduction in the birth rate was also observed, which tried to level off the population growth. So you can see over here that the death rate was already reducing, because day by day the medical science was increasing, or you can say the facilities were increasing. But this, you can see there is a sharp fall in the birth rate. Okay, this is the one of the reasons, this is one of the big advantages of the industrialization and the urbanization. Okay, so now you can see that both of these have reached a very lower limit as compared to this high that was seen in the phase 1. Okay, so in this phase, that is the fourth phase, both birth rate and the death rates are low. High standards of living, more jobs by the women led to the reduction in the fluctuating birth rates, and death rates are also low because of high technologies and the excellent medical facilities. So you can see that in the fourth phase, both are moving with hand in hand. Okay, and in the fifth phase, in the developed countries like UK, where the population are now reducing well below the replacement level, and the population growth may tend to negative or zero. Okay, so this fifth particular point, or you can say fifth particular phase, is still not observed in almost all the countries, but in a few countries the death has increased and the birth rate has been controlled, so it results into a net zero overall population. Okay, so which is an ideal thing that should happen. Okay, so again, this particular pyramid is this particular graph is being explained with the help of this pyramids also. Okay, so high birth rate and rapid fall in each upward age due to high death rate and short life expectancy. Okay, so this is expanding, stationary, and then it is contracting. So that this particularly represents the demographic transition model, that is DTM. Okay, so I think that is clear for all of you. Okay, now there are some of the definitions, so that let us see that quickly. So infant mortality rate, so it is the measure of the mortality rate, which is the death of the infant. Okay, death of the infant per 1,000 births. So out of 1,000 births, how many children are dying? That is in a particular year, that is called the infant mortality rate. Okay, natural increase in population. So what is this? It is difference between the crude birth rate and the crude death rate. I think this we also saw with the help of one of the examples in the numericals. Okay, Then sex ratio, I think this is already being studied by you. That is the number of females per 1,000 males. Okay. Total fertility rate, that is average number of children that would be born to a woman during her lifetime. Okay. And next is the last important point, that is urbanization. So the growth in the proportion of a population living in an urban area is called as a urbanization. Okay, so this is a common phenomena. I think all of you are aware regarding that. So people generally migrate to the bigger urban centers to seek the jobs, better quality of the life, and other social services. Okay, so environmental and the socio-economic problems due to urbanization. So what are the problems that the people are facing? Demand for the dwelling place. As the population increases more and more, the land is required in more and more amount. Overcrowding, that is as the people migrate to the urban areas for employment opportunity, education and the medical facilities lead to overcrowding of the urban areas. Increase in the crime. So due to increase in the unemployment and poverty, it leads to the increase in the growth rate of the crime as well. So again, this is a very important point. Exploitation of the ground and the surface resources. So demand for the different resources like the water, electricity, fossil fuels, etc. will increase the population increase. Okay, so as and when the people or amount of people will increase, it will directly or indirectly increase the demand for all this type of the basic resources. Okay, and increase in air pollution. So it is directly proportional to the amount of the pollution. Generation of the solid and the liquid waste. Also you can add up over here the biomedical waste, e-waste, okay, which is not even considered over here. As you all know, with the increase in population, it will increase all these things also. Okay, and the pressure on the habitats of wild and the domesticated animals. Okay, so these are the impacts, you can say, or the environmental impacts due to the urbanization. Okay, so any doubt over here? One numerical is there to be covered up. Okay, so that I will just do in a while. Any doubt over here? Yes, please tell me in any of this points that we have discussed up till now. Yes, so the question is regarding the arithmetic increase method. So the formalized Pn is equal to P plus N into Y. So what is being asked? It is being asked that predict the population for 2021, 31 and 2041. What is given to us? 1961 population is given, 1971 population is given, 81 is given, 91 is given, 2001 is given, and 2011 is given. So quickly copy this data first of all. Okay. Okay, so you can see over here that the population, this same data that is mentioned over here, I have copied down over here. Okay, now what do I want over here? I want this value of I, that is the average incremental value. Okay, so what did I do? I just took a difference of this two. Okay, that is 10, 15, 6, 7, 2 minus 8, 5, 8, 5, 4, 5. Where did I write this? I wrote this over here. Okay, same way I took the difference of this two, that is 10, 15, 6, 7, 2 and 120, 1, 5, 5, 3 and written over here. Same way I have taken the differences of the both this above thing and I have written over here. Then I do the total of this, okay, and then I divide it by the number, okay. So you can see over here that the total is 1727317 and the entries are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So average incremental value will be found out from that. Okay, what is the average incremental value? That is 345463. Okay, now use it into our main formula. What is the main formula? P plus N into Y. So what is this P? P is the last recorded population. So last recorded population in case of 2021 was 2011. So it is 2585862. So 2585862 plus 1. Why? Because only one decade has been passed. So 1 into 345463. So do the total, that will be this much. For 2031, again, last recorded population was this only. Okay, so that I have written. But how many decades have passed since then? 2 decades. Okay, and average incremental value is also same. So the total value is this much. Again, in case of 2041, this is same, but here 3 decades have been passed. So 3 into this value. Okay, so the total is coming out to be this much. So 21, 31, 41, the answers are mentioned over here. Okay, any doubt over here, then quickly tell me, or you just copy it down. Okay, so any doubts? Anyone? Okay, so we end over here. Okay, so this module is finished. Okay, so I have taken your attendance. Okay, so if you have copied down, if there is no other doubt, then you can leave. Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice day. Okay, next session will be taken by Aditya sir. Okay, so please join that. Okay, so thank you very much. Have a nice day. We meet again in the next week. Thank you.